Are you struggling with marketing your photography business online? Well, today I'm bringing you 10 expert tips to market and grow your photography business in 2021. I'm really excited about these 10 tips. I've never talked about actually growing a photography business because I'm not a, well, that's really weird. Hang on.
Hey Heather, it's Gabby. So I just heard through the grapevine that you're maybe looking for some help helping photographers grow their wedding business on Pinterest in 2021. And here I am. I thought I would offer a few tips.
That's so weird, Gabby. I literally was just filming a YouTube video and you called. Like, how did you even know? Do you have like magic or something?
Listen, Pinterest pros, we read each other's minds. So
oh my gosh.
We're here.
Well, let's hop in together, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so now that we have Gabby here, which is really weird that I'd be recording this video and then she just inserts herself. Thanks, Gabby. Like, I am not a wedding professional or a photographer, so I'm so happy to have you here. Why don't I just introduce Gabby just really quickly and then she can maybe take it from there. So Gabby Pinkerton, she also has a Pinterest and wedding YouTube channel, and she's a wedding planner, right, Gabby?
Yep, destination weddings for adventurous couples.
Oh my gosh, how fun is that? So she's also a Pinterest marketing pro for wedding professionals, and she's gonna bring us some expert tips in our 10 tips breakdown. So I'm so happy to have you here, Gabby. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll dive into the first few tips.
Yeah, so we actually grew our event planning company to a 6-figure international wedding destination wedding planning team thanks to honestly Pinterest and blogging. I think it's like, you and I say this all the time to our audience, Pinterest and having an SEO presence and having a Pinterest presence is a long-term strategy game. And I think specifically in the wedding industry, people don't know a lot about that yet. So I'm super excited for us to team up on this. We're going to teach wedding photographers and other wedding pros, if they're listening, this will be valid for them, but how to grow their brand, their company by using Pinterest in 2021.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. So I'm so excited to have you here. You're the professional. We're gonna go through some tips. And just to let you guys in on a sneak peek, this is gonna be 2 videos, just so you're aware. So this is gonna be the first one on my channel. Then we're gonna have the wedding specific, photographer specific tips on Gabby's channel, because that's actually more accurate for her audience, right?
Yep.
My name is Heather Farris, and I run this Pinterest YouTube channel, and I also have a Pinterest marketing agency. I've been doing this I'm rounding the corner to 5 years, and I'm really excited about Pinterest even now today with all the changes and updates. Like, it's just a new challenge for me, and I'm so excited that you are here and watching. If you like this content and you want to learn more, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. One of the things that we recently realized that we could do when we were in a Clubhouse room and then we were chatting on Instagram was tagging vendors. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is probably the most exciting part of the new changes on Pinterest in the wedding industry. So basically, we're super, in the wedding industry, we're really used to tagging all the vendors on Instagram. That's something that's like common practice. It's not only is it good for engagement on Instagram, but it's also really important to credit everybody who's worked on an event. And that was always a problem with Pinterest. There was no way to show, unless you're just typing in the person's name or the company's name, which at the end of the day isn't super searchable on Pinterest because people don't know you exist yet. So now on Pinterest, you are able to tag specific accounts. And as wedding pros, I mean, that's a game changer. So I make sure that when I am creating a pin, a fresh pin, or even a story pin or a video pin, that I am clicking that little mention button, or I am doing the @ symbol in the caption of my pin to start bringing up names of accounts of vendors that were working on that wedding with me. So if you're a photographer, I mean, this is a game changer. You should be tagging vendors that you worked on that wedding with, but vendors should also be tagging you in every single photo they're posting on Pinterest.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really like a good attribution, like you said. And then that also brings it to awareness that you created a pin and you tagged them, and now they can pin it to their profile. Yes. And that could bring more audience and more eyeballs to your content.
Yep, I love it. And that's the thing, is you get notified when somebody tags you. So you can go then and interact with that pin as well. And that creates more engagement, you know, the emoticons or have a comment, and that'll slowly start to boost that pin up.
Ninja tip number 1, tag vendors or photographers and vice versa. Okay, so let's dive into a tip that's probably a little bit beginner, and that's okay because we may have some beginners watching this, and that's really to start with an optimized profile. So what are just some really quick tips that you can give about creating an optimized profile?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you and I give the same advice, but in different industries. But an optimized profile to me means you are optimizing the imagery. So you are showing your best work as your background photo. And photographers, listen, you have thousands, hundreds of images, thousands of images that you can use. So showcasing your best work wherever you can add a photo, as well as using keywords. So keywords is what kind of drives Pinterest. And in the wedding industry, you've got to be clear on who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. Because otherwise, how are you going to stand out when there's a lot of other wedding pros on Pinterest? So be very clear about who you are. You're a wedding photographer, but who do you service? Maybe that's a location keyword. Maybe that's a style keyword like boho weddings or modern weddings or something like that. So really take the time to go through your profile and optimize your bio, your imagery, the name of your profile. So where you have your name plus maybe a few keywords describing who you are, what you do, and who you do it for.
Tip number 3 is relevancy. And I'll go down this rabbit hole just a little bit for you guys because I've covered this one already in depth. So making sure, like Gabby just said, using creating an optimized profile and using those keywords and being really relevant about who you are and who you serve and the industry basically that you're in, those keywords are really important to relevancy on Pinterest. Relevancy used to just be a thing that was mentioned when we were talking about Pinterest ads. There is a scale up to 40% when you're running Pinterest ads telling you how relevant your pin is to your audience that you're trying to target, and that impacts delivery of your ads. Well, now with the automatic delivery and indexing of Pinterest images on the platform, it's this new fresh pin algorithm that they've delivered to us, I guess, in like a little UPS box, like here it is. They actually released it with story pins and then they started integrating it with fresh pins. So it's an auto indexing. So as soon as you index or as soon as you pin your pin to the platform, as long as your keywords and the board that you pinned it to and everything are really relevant, then you should be delivered in the algorithm to your ideal audience. Now, it could take some time. I was just creating a new account just this last week and pinning some stuff for a jewelry client. In the first 48 hours, we weren't really getting any impressions at all. But after that time frame, I really started to see it pick up. So relevancy is really important with your keywords and the boards that you're pinning to, and making sure your profile is really, really relevant to the person you're trying to target. If you are a vegan food blogger and you're pinning about and trying to target boho wedding clients, it doesn't connect, it's not relevant. So just making sure that you are being really relevant. If you want more information on relevancy, I'll link a video up here and you can watch it.
And a quick tip for photographers, I was just going to say about that, I think one question we get a lot about boards is, well, what if I have mood boards that I created for my clients, right? Because in the wedding industry, couples come to us and they give us ideas and we sometimes create a board for them. People are like, well, oh my gosh, what if I added, a couple irrelevant things, but to create this mood board? Don't worry about that board because it's going to be a quick temporary board just for the vision of that client, but you can make that type of board secret. So it's not showing up as one of your main optimized boards on your profile, but it's visible to you and to the client. And there you can kind of add whatever you feel is, if it's a color palette inspiration, or if it's a food item that you want to have served at the wedding, whatever that is. But that's something we get asked a lot in the wedding industry. Like, what do I do with my wedding mood boards? Don't worry, you're going to eventually archive them once the wedding's done anyway.
That is so important and something I didn't even think about because listen, I'm not a photographer or wedding planner. So glad you brought that up, Gabby. This is why we have you here. So glad you called. Tip number 4 is using all of the Pinterest features given to you. So Many people may not even know what Pinterest features are or what is available to them because they aren't actively using this platform. So they're probably new. If they are new, what are a couple of those features that they should be using?
Definitely testing out story pins right now. I think there is a huge boost in, visibility with story pins. So if you're just wanting to play around with your account, see if you have access to story pins. If not, you can request access. And basically what it is, it's like an Instagram story. And especially in the wedding industry, they want to see a little bit behind the scenes, right? So that's what we do. They're not as curated as maybe a beautiful pin that you would add, but there's maybe a mix of videos and photos. You can mention or tag your vendors in there as well. So I'd really recommend starting to play with story pins and see what happens and see what your audience likes, as well as doing a mix of beautiful imagery pins, like pins with no edits on them, and some with text overlay. And I feel like you, Heather, you do probably a combination of both with your clients as well. And I would say in the wedding industry, photographers are always really hesitant, with reason, totally valid, to put any text on top of their beautiful images, right? But would you say that I think the text overlay images or the pin designs get more click-throughs? Would you say that's similar in your industry?
Yeah, and the number one reason why that comes to mind is because pins without text give no context as to what's on the other side or what the pin is about. And when people are scrolling, 20 thumbs a minute is the joke that I use, but I really think it's probably that fast or faster. If there's no text, they have no reason to really stop unless something in that image really catches their eye, and then they could pin it to a board that's completely not relevant to what you're wanting them to pin it to. So if they pin a wedding related pin to a woodworking board because the table in the image was wood, that might not connect, and the engagement thereafter may not connect either. So that's why I like to use text.
So, and the last type of pin that I'd recommend videographers, photographers, wedding pros in general use is a video pin. And video, I think if you haven't noticed on all social platforms, I mean, Instagram's pushing reels, TikTok is constantly, is all video. Everybody is pushing video, and it's true on Pinterest as well. So again, I go back to the idea of behind the scenes. Maybe your next wedding, you can record a little behind the scenes of you working as a photographer, or can your assistant capture you behind the scenes, or maybe a little video montage of photos you've taken, right? So something that's video that is relevant to your audience, relevant to your business, that you could show as a video pin on Pinterest, I think is a really great place to start.
And two of the things that Gabby mentioned, story pins and video pins, even though video pins have been available for several years now, they are really becoming like the next thing. So using them will really help you to boost your engagement. Talking video pins are not something I've really gotten into just yet, but even if you're filming and you're producing like reels or TikToks or anything for your wedding business, those would be really great places to start and repurpose content. So that's a really great tip, Gabby. The last tip that we're actually going to give in this video, and then you'll have to go to the other video and watch the photography specific tips, marketing tips. The last thing is, I talked about optimizing your profile, but optimizing your descriptions. And there's actually two places you're going to use descriptions on Pinterest. So Gabby, what's one of the places?
One of the places is going to be your main pin description. So there's a title for each pin and there is a description for each pin. And so you want to make sure that you are adding, I always like to say, focus on, one focus keyword that is relevant to the image that you see, or that is going to be relevant to the blog post that you're going to be sending them to. And of course, is relevant to your business as a whole, right? So we're not going to be talking about keto recipes if you are a wedding photographer. So making sure that your title is optimized with a keyword, and then that keyword is repeated again in the pin description. Heather, would you add, I was going to mention another place, but you tell me what the other place is in case we're on two different ones and maybe we have a third place.
Yeah, so the next place that you're actually going to use the descriptions is in your boards. So the SEO Gabby was talking about in the beginning of this video is so important to use throughout your entire profile, including your board descriptions. That's actually how you get found, because Pinterest is a search engine. In case we didn't mention that in the beginning, newsflash, Pinterest is a search engine and not social media, and this is the end of this conversation. Since it's a search engine, you're going to use those keywords that you want to be found for. So like boho wedding photographer, or where I'm actually planning a secret thing right now. So like maybe Costa Rica vow renewals or something like that. So whatever those keywords are, you're going to use in your board descriptions to help your boards to get found in search. So your pin descriptions help your pins get found in search, and your board descriptions help your pins to get found in search. So they actually marry together like a nice little marinade, and helps to drive you up in the algorithm when people search for boho cowboy weddings. That's it for this video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed these 5 kind of beginner tips to dipping them into Pinterest, okay? So thank you so much, Gabby, for calling. Make sure you head on over to Gabby's channel and watch the playlist here where her video is located. And we will see you next time. Gabby, thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, Heather. This was so fun. I'll catch you later.
Bye.